Some goals in the World Cup didn't just win matches, they changed football history forever. Imagine a single strike, so controversial that it still sparks heated debates decades later. These are the 10 moments that shocked the world, leaving fans furious and players questioning the very fairness of the game. 10. The 3rd of June, 1978. Sweden versus Brazil. Untimely whistle of referee. Brazil won a corner in the closing stages of their opening game of the 1978 World Cup against Sweden. The score was 1-1. Ball sailed through the air. But just before Zico converted what he thought would be the winning goal, referee Clive Thomas fired off 3 sharp parps of his whistle to signal full time. The Brazilians swarmed the Welsh official, but he remained adamant that he followed the letter of the laws exactly. Thomas lost no sleep over the moment that denied Brazil victory, insisting years later, "To have done anything other than I did in that Sweden-Brazil match would have been dishonest." That is certainly one uncommon view. 9. The 8th of July, 1982, West Germany versus France. Harald Schumacher's collision with Patrick Battiston. Harald Schumacher's brutal clash with Patrick Battiston in the second half of the 1982 World Cup semi-final left the French defender unconscious on the turf, missing 2 teeth and nursing 3 broken ribs. The West German goalkeeper was second in the race for a loose ball, protecting himself by jumping into a challenge, which wasn't even classed as a foul. Schumacher remained on the pitch to save 2 penalties in the subsequent shootout, sending West Germany to the final. Decades after the event, Schumacher maintained, "Given the circumstances, I'd do the same thing again." Battiston enjoyed a successful career afterward, but he still complains of headaches and other side effects. It is strange, though, the French defender revealed in 2016. "I can sometimes sense now when the weather is about to change. Like a frog can." 8. The 2nd of June, 1962. Chile versus Italy. Battle of Santiago. BBC broadcaster David Coleman branded Chile's 2-0 group stage victory over Italy at the 1962 World Cup the most stupid, appalling, disgusting, and disgraceful exhibition of football. Ken Aston was the unwitting soul tasked with refereeing a brutal contest in which almost every decision prompted a mini pitch invasion. The first foul was whistled after just 12 seconds. The English official likened his role to that of an umpire in military maneuvers. Italy's Giorgio Farini and Mario David were both sent off before the interval, while Chile's Lionel Sanchez, embodying the outrage of a nation that had been slandered as World Cup hosts by the Italian press, remained on the pitch despite throwing 2 punches. In fairness, he had been struck himself. 7. The 25th of June, 1982. West Germany 1-0 Austria. Disgrace of Gijon. Going into the final game of Group 2 at the 1982 World Cup, West Germany and Austria knew that a win by 1 or 2 goals for the former would send both nations through to the knockout stages at the expense of Algeria. Horst Hrubesch fired the Germans in front after 10 minutes, prompting a dubiously slow-paced conclusion. The local Spanish press dubbed it El Anschluss, a crass reference to Germany's enforced union with Austria ahead of the Second World War. It soon came to be known as the Disgrace of Gijon. Germany's Hans-Peter Briegel distanced himself from organized talks, but described the spontaneous on-field arrangement as a non-aggression pact. FIFA wasn't impressed and reformatted all subsequent tournaments to conclude with simultaneous group stage games. 6. The 27th of June 2010. Germany versus England. Frank Lampard's ghost goal. 4 months before the 2010 World Cup, FIFA General Secretary Jerome Valcke emphatically declared that the door to goal line technology was closed. It had to be sheepishly reopened after Frank Lampard's ghost goal during England's round of 16 tie against Germany. After falling 2-0 down, Matt Upson halved the deficit for England in a chaotic first half before Lampard let rip in the 39th minute. The famously unpredictable Jabulani ball swerved onto the underside of the crossbar before bouncing comfortably behind the goal line. Germany's Manuel Neuer reacted rapidly, grabbing the ball and immediately restarting play. To England's bemusement, no goal was awarded. The Three Lions imploded after the break to lose 4-1. 5. The 9th of July, 2006. Italy versus France. Zinedine Zidane's headbutt. The effortless grace of Zinedine Zidane's game has inspired libraries of books, reams of poetry, and a painfully artistic documentary soundtracked by Mogwai. For all of his brilliance, there was a brutish edge to the Frenchman. Both sides were on full display in the 2006 World Cup final. France and Italy were locked at 1-1 going into the last 10 minutes of extra time when Zidane launched his forehead into the chest of the game's other goalscorer, Marco Materazzi. The Italian defender revealed that he had insulted Zidane's sister, but he was hardly the first to push some readily exposed buttons. In his final ever competitive match, Zidane received his 14th dismissal. All but one were straight reds. For the 30th of July, 1966, England versus West Germany, Jeff Hurst's World Cup winner, Oxford University's Dr. Ian Reid and Dr. Andrew Zisserman released a peer-reviewed paper in 1996 to definitively conclude whether England's third goal against West Germany in the 1966 World Cup had crossed the line. Jeff Hurst spun and belted a shot, which thundered off the underside of the crossbar and onto the turf 10 minutes into extra time. Roger Hunt, the nearest England forward to the incident, was so convinced it had crossed the goal line that he burst into celebration while the ball was cleared. But the scientific research concluded a conservative estimate has the ball still 6 centimeters from being a goal. Hurst completed his hat, trick to ensure England won 4-2 at Wembley, and maintained years later the ball was at least 1 meter over the line. 3. The 2nd of July 2010, Uruguay versus Ghana. Luis Suarez's handball to deny Ghana. Dominic Adiaya could have been the hero. Deep into stoppage time of the 2010 World Cup quarter final against Uruguay in South Africa, Ghana's substitute had his header punched off the goal line by Luis Suarez. Asamoah Gyan missed the subsequent spot kick, the last action before a penalty shootout, which Uruguay cruelly won. Suarez had been sent off but celebrated Gyan's penalty miss gleefully in the mouth of the tunnel. "The hand of God now belongs to me," he bragged post-game. "Mine is the real hand of God. I made the best save of the tournament." Suarez has never been forgiven for denying Africa's first World Cup semi-finalist at the first World Cup held on the continent. Former Ghana midfielder Ibrahim Ayew claimed, "The whole of Ghana hates him, and the whole of Africa hates him." 2. The 21st of June, 1978, Argentina versus Peru, Peru's convenient implosion. In a World Cup hosted by the nation's murderous military regime, Argentina knew they had to defeat Peru by 4 clear goals to move ahead of Brazil in the second group stage and advance to the final. Argentina conveniently won 6-0. Juan Munanti hit the post for Peru while the game was goalless. But there have been countless rumors surrounding the pressure put on the South Americans to ease up against Argentina. Exchange of political prisoners, the release of frozen assets, and 35,000 tons of grain have all been floated. Few facts surrounding the tie are known, but Peru's Jose Velasquez insisted, "We were pressured." 1. The 22nd of June, 1986. Argentina versus England. Diego Maradona's Hand of God. Diego Maradona's complex blend of sublime skill and skullduggery was perfectly captured by the 1986 World Cup quarter final against England, one of the greatest individual performances in the competition's history. Argentina's talisman produced arguably the greatest goal in the history of football, leaving half the England team twisted in knots on the turf of the Estadio Azteca before stabbing the ball under Peter Shilton. But Maradona preferred his first of the afternoon. Leaping up to challenge England's towering goalkeeper, Maradona threw his fist at the ball to punch Argentina into the lead. Despite fierce protestations from the Three Lions, the officials were convinced by Maradona's celebrations. After the match, he explained that the goal was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. As we've seen, football isn't just a game of goals. It's a game of moments that can spark controversy and debate for years. Whether these decisions were right or wrong, one thing's for sure, they've etched their place in World Cup history. But what do you think? Which of these goals was the most controversial in your eyes? Let us know in the comments below.